What's up, guys? It's me, the ALE Double X Prince, and I'm here to give you a different review, not a wrestling review, not a movie review, but a TV show review. This being Stranger Things 2. I never got a chance to review Stranger Things the first season. That's because I didn't know what Stranger Things was. I know everybody was talking about it, like Stranger Things, Stranger Things. I'm like, okay, what the hell is that? And they apparently it's on Netflix. I thought it was a horror show. Turns out it was more than that. I was blown away with how good the first season was. It was a fantastic season, top to bottom. Everything about it was well done, from the acting to the story to the kids. It's basically it, but with more fleshed out characters and more stuff I like about it. And overall, I thought the Stranger Things, the first season, was a 10 out of 10. Honestly, one of the best seasons out there. If you guys haven't seen season 1, I recommend you to check that out before you watch season 2 because obviously you won't get any of it. Anyways, let's get on with it. Spoiler warning. Yeah. So basically the kids are back. And they're just kind of doing their thing. It starts pretty different than majority episodes. So it starts with like a crime scene going on, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like you just see cops chasing a van, some criminals. I didn't know if I was watching the right thing, and sure enough, it basically sets up a future episode down the road, um, and basically you meet 8. Um, Basically another girl with powers, and whenever she uses those powers she bleeds out of her nose. So she works with criminals, and there's that. At first I'm like, okay, that's cool. When are we gonna get to that character? We don't get that character until like way later. I think like episode 7 or something. But anyways, we kick off the regular show like normal, and you get to introduction of the kids. They're gonna go play games, use their they're taking money, and then we get introduced to another character, Mad Max, or Maxine Max, whatever you want to call her. And she's gonna be a big part of the show, of season 2, because both Dustin and Lucas have a crush on her. Throughout the episode, they're fighting over who gets her. Also, Mike isn't happy with that because he still misses 11. If you guys don't know, 11 and Mike had their own thing. Before 11 sacrificed herself to, save the kids that one time, and he hasn't seen her since. No one knows where 11 is, and it's basically the story. At first, Nancy, Steve, and Jonathan have the love triangle is back. Eventually, Jonathan and Maxine end up. Jonathan and Nancy. That would be weird. Jonathan and Maxine. That would be weird. Anyways, Nancy and Jonathan, they end up together, and it was all right. They didn't make a big deal out of it. They just had one night, and that's it. Steve grew a lot in this episode. Simply, you get to know him more. He's with the kids a lot, so he's a big part of it. The duo between Steve and Dustin worked perfectly. I actually enjoyed that chemistry a lot. I think that was great. And then let's just talk about real quick this new character we got introduced to, Bob. Who is also dating Jonathan and Will's mother, played by, Joyce. I think that was it. Yeah, Joyce. How the fuck did I forget that name? Oops. Anyways, they're dating. At first, Bob, you're curious because this season has a lot of twists and turns. So I'm thinking Bob actually works for like the CIA or some shit. He's actually trying to get the aliens, kind of like the same guys that they were going after 11. I thought he was going to be part of that. Turns out he's not. He actually gets killed by an alien, and it was just a very intense moment. But then I want to talk about Chief Hopper, who actually, now that I think about it, David Harbour, Chief Hopper. It's pretty weird coincidence. Anyways, he actually has been taking care of 11 for this whole time. And eventually, you get a lot of growth from 11, especially in one episode that I'll get to. But anyways, the main plot of this story, the aliens are coming back to hunt Will. One of them actually gets possessed inside Will's body, and basically he uses Will as like a spy, as they called it. And it was a good change for the show. They usually with sequels or anything, they tend to rehash the past. This time, majority of the kids have their own time. Like, I get a lot from Dustin in this season. Basically, he's on his own. He finds like a little creature, that thing that Will spits out at the end of season 1. And turns out it's a demodog the whole time, just growing. He ate a fucking cat. Oh my god, I freaked out when that shit happened. I'm a dog guy, but still, cats, they deserve love too. So anyways, as that was going on, I thought really hard throughout like the show, like Lucas, because Lucas was just kind of like that asshole that didn't like 11. This time, since he's the one that actually ends up with Maxine or Max. I gotta keep saying that. Max and Lucas end up together at the end of the season, but they work well together. And then they got this guy named Billy, who's like the new bad boy in town. And basically he's he's basically Max's stepbrother, and he's like a douche because he doesn't like having a stepsister, and he's a bitch. And then his dad treats him like shit. So basically, typical things you would get out of a fucked up relationship like that. Because Billy, throughout the show, he was a douchebag. And then him hitting on Karen, which is Nancy and Mike's mom. Which, by the way, I didn't know this, but Cara Bruno, she's fucking hot. Like, I mean, that one scene where they're trying to hit it off. I mean, it shows a lot. And then that reminds me, I don't like the dad. Ted, he was just fucking useless. Even Dustin made a joke like, "Man, you're fucking useless." It was pretty funny. But yeah, so that's the main plot with the kids. Nancy and Jonathan are trying to actually stop the government that's like getting these aliens around, because they're the reason why this shit even happened in the first place. The reason why Mike ain't normal. And also, they mentioned Barbara a lot in this episode. There's actually one episode, yeah, and I feel like they did it on purpose for the fans. But they were like, yeah, like, it's just like they just forgot about Barbara. And I couldn't stop laughing because it was like, it's true. They just skipped Barbara. Just cause, yeah, like, who the fuck remembers Barbara? Like, they all talking about Will, but like, what about Barbara, you assholes? Yeah, they're saying that she's dead, but maybe she comes back. Who the fuck knows? So, hell, actually, who the fuck knows? Maybe she does come back in season 3. I don't know what the hell they will do. Anyways, as this was going on, they're basically trying to stop the guys who started this, and Murray is in this show, and played by Brett Gelman, and he's actually like the pretty interesting dude. Like, he's been trying to stop them forever, but then he finds out the truth about everything that happened during that time, even though they're not supposed to tell anybody. All this stuff, just drama, and then that leads to Jonathan and Nancy to hook up that one time, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna hook up again eventually. Anyways, I would mention 11. That's because she's not a big part of this season, as much as they want us to believe. Like, most of the time, Hopper has her, trapped because he doesn't want her to be shown to the world, and they don't want to risk taking 11 back. So it makes sense for Hopper and 11 to have that chemistry, and they have good chemistry. The whole father-daughter relationship worked with them too, and you get a lot more about 11 with so little that you see in her. They're actually I remember that episode where Will tricks everybody into getting killed that one time because of the alien that told him or the monster, whatever you want to call it, alien, monster, whatever. They keep telling him, you know, throughout that episode, I'm like, hey, I just realized Eleven's not anywhere in this episode, and it's about to end. The next episode was all about 11. Where has she been? She basically she finds her mom. She sees that she's not the same. However, they could connect with each other every time they cover her eyes. She sees visions of what happened, and then she sees this little girl that hangs out with 11. Turns out it's 8 from the very first episode, and that leads to 11 going to Chicago and finding 8. And you know, she was gonna start a new life. However, she has friends still living where they are, which is I forgot. Oops. Yeah, I keep forgetting where they live. Um, yeah, never mind. Um, anyways, 11 goes back to save everybody from the monsters and all this stuff. And what I like that each side story eventually comes all together at the end. Like 11 comes back, Hopper and Joy's relationship, even though with Bob's death. The kids all come back, even though they're all separate. Steve again, he's comes back. And again, Dustin and Steve have an amazing chemistry. I want to see Steve connect with Dustin again. I think that those two work well together. And I don't know, this love triangle between Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan. I kind of wanted to like stop by like I know it's gonna continue in season 3, but at least by season 4, if they have season 4, they could stop it. I don't know how long Stranger Things is planning to go ahead. I think they want to stop at 5 or 4. I don't remember. So, anyways, as this goes on, yeah, eventually everything comes back at the end, and then 11 wants to go back and save everybody and close the gate from those things. At the same time, kill everybody. And that one scene where they try to get that possessed monster out of Will, it's hard to watch because Will, the monster inside Will, he likes the cold. He only wants cold. And then this one episode, the final episode, they like tie up Will to get the monster out, and they turn heaters on all around him. And then Joyce is just pretty ticked off because those monsters killed Bob, so she just loses it, turns the heater up all the way. Jonathan's like, "Come on, stop it!" And then like, because they feel bad for Will, but at the same time they gotta get that shit out of him, otherwise he dies. And then that's when Nancy gets this thing and burns Will. It's just insane. And that's just great storytelling. And the Duffer brothers, these guys are on point. Honestly, more that I think about it, whenever brothers team up to do movies, that's when they actually get the good shit. Think about it. The Coen brothers are legends these days with movies like Fargo, The Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men. Granted, they have their misses like Hail Caesar and what was it? Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I'm sorry, I don't like that movie. But anyways, the Coen brothers are legends. The Russo brothers are slowly turning into big hits with the Captain America movies and soon the Avengers. And now the Duffer brothers with Stranger Things, they have a lot to do. And they kept switching directors, but at the end of the day, this was still their project. I was shocked to get that I found out that they got Andrew Stanton, I think that was his name, but the guy who directed Wall-E and Finding Nemo. That was a shocker to see. So it was great to see that. Anything else? Let's see. I'm trying to remember what else. Before I get to this other stuff. Yeah, overall. And I know this question is gonna go around saying, "Oh, which season was better, 1 or 2?" I do that with movies. Like, "Oh, the first one was better, the second one was better, the third one was the best," and stuff like that. Here with Stranger Things, it's kind of weird because it's like I don't know which one's better because the whole point of a sequel or season is to continue the story, and I think they did a fantastic job with. Sorry about that. I had a very important phone call. Where was I with Stranger Things 2? I think I basically talked about everything as far as everything goes. Again, the acting is great. The story is phenomenal, and the directors are just setting up to be good things. As far as my favorite episode goes, I guess I like the first one just because I like how it starts off the story and it sets up everything. And then it culminates with the snowball dance, and everybody gets their dance. Lucas with Max, Mike with some girl that Oh, by the way, throughout the show they keep calling him Zombie Boy, which is really fucked up. Because he came back to life and they make fun of him and shit. But he ends up hooking up with a girl, so good for him. Uh, Nancy feels bad for Dustin, so they dance, and then 11 comes back to dance with Mike. Also, that I'm guessing this is gonna lead to a relationship between Joyce and Hopper. It's just destined to be it. I'm pretty sure that's where they're going with this. Um, as far as my favorite episode, I really like the first one. I really enjoyed that one episode, and I know a lot of people are gonna give me shit, but I actually enjoyed that episode where 11 goes and meets 8 because this sets up stuff for the next season, and it sets up stuff for what was to come for 11. She's learning the powers. It's kind of like Empire Strikes Back with Yoda teaching Luke Skywalker. Yes, I made a Star Wars reference. Deal with it. Anyways, as that goes on, the show ends with basically the school, and then it forwards upside down, and we get to see the monster on the upside down with the school right there. So yes, somehow, some way they're gonna come back, and there's many ways they could come back. First of all, in the last episode, Steve and the guys are set to blow up the entire place where they originally buried a hole. But because of that, during that, I think Dustin gets splattered with something in the face, and it gets onto his mouth, so it might start a big allergy. And also, another guy who got that was Hopper. When he went down the hole, he got something on his face. So I'm pretty sure that might come into play. Dustin and Steve actually put a Demodog in the fridge, so that could come back into play. As far as this goes, I don't know how I feel. They're gonna come back to the upside down worlds. Like, I thought they were gonna do something else, but I feel like it's great to see that they stick strictly to one story. Instead of just continuously giving us, trying to redo shit over and over just because it's a sequel. It knows what it's telling. Kind of like Star Wars. The original trilogy. They didn't go from Darth Vader to a new character. They kept the same characters, but adding some more ones like Palpatine, Boba Fett, and shit like that. I think this is the right way to. Excuse me. I think this is the right way to go, not just typical superhero. Like, I like Spider-Man. I like the Spider-Man trilogy, the original one, even though Spider-Man 3 is whatevs. But, it works with them because it's a movie and it's superheroes. Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and, Venom. But the thing that also made them great is that they still stuck to the main story, which is the whole relationship between Mary Jane, Peter Parker, and Harry Osborn. So if they play off something like that, it's great. Last thing I want to reference, 1984. This is when the show supposedly took place. Basically, they dress up as Ghostbusters. There's a lot of Terminator references. They mention a lot of things from 1984. So I'm guessing the next season will be taking place in 1985, and I think this is gonna be perfect. They're gonna have references from The Breakfast Club, Back to the Future, Commando. They got a lot of things in 1985, particularly for young adults. I don't know if Ferris Bueller came out yet, and I don't think so. But anyways, that will be it. My quick thoughts on season 2 of Stranger Things. What did you guys think about the show? Comment down below. Let me know. Again, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It's me, the ALE XX Prince. And until then, I'm out.